podcast live from the Hive.
And we're rolling.
So hello and welcome to our latest career talk as live from the Hive from Careers Worcestershire. So in today's talk we're going to be focusing on starting your own business. So young people from across Worcestershire have sent in their questions which we're going to put to our Worcestershire businesses today, who are going to share their knowledge, advice and tips to support our young people in their career journey. So before we start, let's introduce our Worcestershire businesses that are supporting you today.
Ian Fisher, we own Steam Coffee Shop, which is based in Fry Street in Worcester, and we also used to work at Worcester Warriors rugby club.
I'm Andrew, and like I said, we run Steam Coffee Shop in Fry Street.
I'm Emma Jenkins. I run This Is Union, which is a marketing and digital marketing agency based on Pitfalls Street in the city centre.
Hi, my name's Phil. We own a homecare agency that is based in Malvern, but covers the south part of Worcestershire.
Great, thank you very much to our panel. Let's get stuck in with our questions. So Ian and Andrew, if we start with you, what made you decide to start your own business?
So I think when we started our own business, we really wanted to focus on something we were very passionate about and wanting to do something we believed in. And when I was growing up, I had quite bad dyslexia, so general office jobs weren't necessarily going to work out best for me. And coffee was always something I was very passionate about, so I think it was something, an area we knew we really wanted to get into.
And we saw an opportunity to buy an existing business in Worcester, and that mitigated the delays you had in setting up your own business, because we could literally buy an existing business, so we hadn't got the usual time delay, risks and costs associated with developing your own business. So it was opportunity based, but as Andrew said, the main thing was a passion for coffee.
Fantastic, thank you. And Emma, what made you decide to start your own business?
I've always worked in marketing and advertising, so straight from uni landed my first job in an agency back in Leicester. So after working client side, agency side, small, medium, huge agencies, my husband and I were like, we're not going to do this anymore. Why are we doing this? Let's do something ourselves. So I run the more strategic client facing side of things, and my husband runs the more design heavy elements. We've been doing it for 7 years now and it's fine, but we literally started on our kitchen table after we made that decision, so it's quite scary, but we're so glad we've done it. So yeah, good decision.
Great, thank you. And Phil, what made you decide to start your own business?
Yeah, mine is, I suppose, a real emotional journey. My background is 30 years in corporate travel and tourism, but my mum was receiving care in the community and it wasn't great. And therefore the emotional attachment when a loved one is ringing you unhappy and sad by the way that they're made to feel or looked after, we felt there was a real opportunity to change that. And my wife comes from a care background, so we seized that opportunity to really make a difference to people's lives and really try and set the standard. I think like we've heard, you've got to be passionate about what you do, and it was, you know, it was a real passion that we had to change things.
Thank you. And Phil, what are some of the main challenges you faced with starting your own business?
Oh, face lots. You know, everyone wants your money is one of the first things. Everyone's, you know, ringing you saying, we can do this for you and we can do that for you. And when it's new, you've got to sift through that to really understand who's going to add value. But actually our biggest challenge was I gave up my job thinking that, you know, in a week's time we'd be able to press the button and everything would work really well. Well, because we come from a regulated industry, it took them 6 months to come out to regulate and say that we were okay to trade. So we had that whole interim of, you know, trying to get everything in place, but how do you get your name out when you can't actually do what you want to do? And then the other big challenge as we've grown is people. You know, finding the right people, recruiting the right people, keeping them on board, and creating that point of difference from your competitors.
Thank you. And Emma, what are some of the main challenges that you faced when starting your business?
Echoing some of that actually. So I think when you're already in full-time employment doing what you love and you decide to make the leap to doing it for yourself, you can't just do that overnight. So different from the regulations, but yeah, you can't just set up a business and expect open the doors and everybody will come to you because you're brilliant. So both my husband and I were actually working in our full-time jobs, starting up our side hustle, let's call it, over weekends, in the evening. So for the first 6 to 12 months, it was a hard slog, because you have to make sure that you're getting all the clients in and you can subsidise your income that you're getting from a full-time job. So that was the first thing. Second thing, definitely echo the one with recruiting great people. One of our key values for this is union is that we do good work for good people, but we're also good people ourselves. And it's so challenging to find people with the right work ethic, the right personality that fit in within our little nucleus. And that's hard, that's really challenging. The third big one as well, and this is something that's really to be mindful of, is cash flow. You know, you're setting up for yourself, clients don't pay on time, they barter you down at anything, so you begin to lose value of what you're worth. So you end up cutting costs as well, and then you're like, God, we're barely breaking even. So yeah, it's a lot for that first interim period, making the leap, finance as well, and then finding the right people when you do start to grow to recruit. So it's a lot for the first 6 to 12 months, more for some people.
Thank you. Ian and Andrew, what are some of the main challenges you face?
I think there's a lot around the regulations, the legal side, your property side, commercial leases, that side, taxation, cash flow, all of those are really relevant. What I'd recommend to young people is, yeah, have your passion to work in that business, but go and work in a business that you want to go into first to actually understand how things work. It's like with us, pricing. How do you price a tray bake? It sounds easy, it's not. You know, it's the ingredients, all the associated costs you got to add on to the basic ingredient costs. So it's getting that industry knowledge, and the best way to do it is go and work somewhere first, then set up your business. Because if you know your business, you can, you know, solve a lot of time and trouble.
That's really good advice, yeah.
And befriend another business. Might be in a different town where you're not the competition, but go and, you know, find a friend almost who works in the business, and you can get advice that way. Because buying some of the professional advice costs a lot of money. So it's getting that sort of background knowledge first.
Fab, thank you. And Emma, did you gain any support or funding to help start your own business?
We actually didn't at first. We just kind of jumped into it. And then after we'd been going for about 18 months, that we did do a little bit more research and found that there was funding available. So I think we got a grant, a startup grant, which really helped. We also got like an IT grant as well, which kind of bought some equipment in for us, because that's obviously pricey as well. You know, to have the right tools to be able to do a good job is often very, very challenging. Especially when you're looking at something that's marketing or design. You know, you need quite big kit to be able to design, and the output is of a high quality. So yeah, we were lucky, eventually we found it, but it was literally, let's just keep going and go with what we've got. So I'm not saying that's good advice whatsoever, but
Fab, thank you. Ian and Andrew, did you gain any support or funding when starting your business?
Again, what we're just saying, initially, not particularly, no. Taking over a business that's already established was, for us, a learning curve that we didn't really want to put our own funding in it, and we just wanted to develop what was already there into our own thing. And to begin with, yeah, we didn't really know where to look for it, and we just kind of thought, well, it's, you know, here you go, here's the keys, get on with it. And yeah, of course, definitely buying as much stuff secondhand as possible. That's a big thing I would advise anyone to do, is you don't need to go out and get the fanciest, most expensive equipment there and then. You know, do some shopping around, do some research, and you can bring in a lot of stuff you need that's crucial for much cheaper than just buying it brand new.
Coffee machines are so expensive. They can be 10,000, 15,000. Leasing is also very expensive monthly cost, which again is what other people here have mentioned around cash flow. Buy second hand, you can get some really good deals. So don't always think you've got to buy new. Look at second hand if you can.
Useful, thank you. And Phil, did you gain any support or funding for your business?
The answer to the funding question was no. You know, we're not in a sector where we can get funding or grants. So that was really a challenge, you know, one of the challenges. However, support, actually, there is loads of support out there if you do a bit of research. And I think like that's already been mentioned. Grow a network of people that have different skills to you, that are not emotionally involved in the business, that you can just call and say, what do you feel about this, or how will this work? But then we also join things like the Chamber of Commerce that open those opportunities to have conversations with different people. And again, we also reached out to other care agencies, actually, that were in our area, that were quite happy to share information and support, either around technology or how they operate and how they scheduled and their recruitment challenges as well. So I think the important thing is to go out and ask, you know, and I think if you go out and ask, people are happy to share. And that really helped us when we started.
Great, thank you. Ian and Andrew, what makes your business stand out, and how do you come up with any new ideas for the business?
So what we do in terms of trying to stand out from everyone else is that everything we do in our business, we make ourselves. So my fiance sits there and she makes all the cakes, birthday cakes, wedding cakes, whatever it is, she makes it with her own hands, and we just keep everything homemade and we do it all ourselves. And keeping things fresh is just going and doing some research. You know, we do a lot of market research in London, Bristol, and we just take some of their new concepts and ideas and we just bring them back to Worcester. And yeah, we just follow trends in sort of major cities, really.
Fab, thank you. Emma, how do you keep your business unique and come up with new ideas?
So I guess it works in two ways. It's we keep our service that we provide quite unique. So we are quite proud of our approach to businesses. We work with small, medium, large businesses, but we're very much hands-on. So often the feedback we get from our clients is that we're an extension of their team. So we're very accessible. I'm sometimes too accessible, but we are very much there if they need us to bounce ideas off us. And we found for us as a business that opens up doors. We have an abundance of work coming in from those clients then because they trust us and they also respect the fact that we can support them moving forwards. So from a business perspective, that's really, really important to how we keep things fresh from a service level. Similar to you two, you have to research. You know, you never know anything in any industry. So looking at what your competitors are doing, but also looking at the sectors that are specific to your clients as well. Great to hear that you're travelling outside of Worcester, going to London, looking at fresh ideas. We have to do the same for our clients as well. So we offer a digital service, so looking at trends that happen on Instagram, social media, the obvious, how websites are designed and built and function. But also then we did previously work with quite a lot of food and beverage clients. And it's really important that you're bringing fresh ideas to the table. So we found that no client likes to come to us and tell us what we should be doing. We like to go to them and advise and guide and say, we saw this within your industry. What do you think? Should we give it a go? And we found that that really makes us stand out as well. So it's that knowledge sharing and then the support that we give to our clients as well.
Thank you. And Phil, what makes your business stand out?
Lots of different areas, really. I think the first thing is owners of the business. We know all of our clients. You know, we have a relationship with them, and that builds trust, and that enables them to communicate really well. The second bit is our recruitment process is really tough. We just don't recruit anyone. It's about how are those people going to make a difference to the lives of the people that they look after. And I think if you focus on that, because that's what our business is about, then we become an extended member of our client's family. You know, so what really makes us stand out in what we do, and we've won 2 awards now in our short time, is the quality of the people that we employ. So that's a big thing. The other thing is we've really invested in our technology. Technology does not make great carers, and we're always on the lookout for great carers. But what it does do, it enhances our ability to communicate and really understand what our clients want. And care has been a sector for many years that have not invested in technology, so it's just catching up now. So we've really set that at the forefront of what we've done to try and make a difference. But it's our people that make us stand out, without question.
Fantastic, thank you. Emma, what are some of the challenges that you faced that you didn't expect?
I guess a big one, and this is something that's literally happened this morning, is retention of the people that work for us. We find that we get, when we're recruiting for like entry level, so graduates or people that come in from university, they come in and aren't prepared to do the work. So that's something I would impart. Whenever you are setting up your own business or going into full-time employment, it can be challenging because you're learning a new skill set on top of the great skills you've learned when you've gone through your education. So we're finding currently people are moving on quite quickly. So Worcester's a lovely, lovely city. I'm not from Worcester, I'm from Leicester, so I used to spend a lot of time in London. So we're finding the people that come to us to work are getting their heads turned by bigger cities, whether that be Bristol, Birmingham, Manchester, wherever. So retention and keeping people engaged and wanting to stay within the business is a real challenge. And also as well, you know, we're in a recession, we've just coming out of lockdown and COVID, businesses aren't as buoyant and as profitable as they have been, so you can't always substantiate keeping somebody engaged in a role with throwing money at them and a bigger salary. So that for us is the key thing that we're battling with at the minute, is growing as a business, but then also the retention of great people working for us as well. And also we want people to be happy working with us. We have a really nice working environment, and we take it quite personally if somebody does want to leave, because you're like, oh my God, why? What did we do? What could we have done differently? But people just move on. It's just the way of the world, isn't it? So you have to be quite thick-skinned with that.
I think retention's really difficult,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is.
You know, we've done all sorts of employee benefits, you know, access to 24-hour support services and all those different things.
If they're going to go, they're going to go. You can't do anything about it. You can't. And it is hard not to take it really personally, isn't it? Because you're like, but we've given you all of these things, and why won't you stay? And they're like, I want to go to London. You're like, fine, go to London. So we do get that a lot. Yeah, it's tough. It's a real challenge.
Thank you. Phil, what challenges have you faced that you didn't expect?
Again, lots of challenges really for us. One was about sometimes the speed that you lose staff.
Yeah.
You know, the success of our business is really straightforward. The number of people that we employ has a direct impact on the commercial success of the business. So when you've lost someone and it's taken us 2 or 3 months to find that replacement.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's hard to find, isn't
it? It is,
yeah.
You know, that has a real financial impact on how we perform. Some of the other things that we didn't expect. To start with, we didn't expect it to take 6 months to get registered. You know, that was a huge problem for us because we'd both given up really good jobs. So our funding was all about what we got saved to get us through those 6 months. And the other thing is that sometimes we're also not in control of our destiny. A lot of our business is funded by Worcestershire County Council. So as their processes change or they go through different things and want to do things in a different way or want to contract in a different way, we're not in control of that, but has a huge impact on how we operate and what we do. And we weren't prepared for that. That would be fair to say.
That is a really good point. Sorry to interject, you just made me think of something else. Sometimes you're not in control of when things change like that. So whereas obviously you must be tendering for business through the council, if their situation changed or the way they go about tendering changes, then it has a knock-on effect. It's the same with client retention as well as customer team retention. Clients, the average lifespan of a client is anything from 12 months to 3 years. You know, you can never sometimes tell when they're going to drop off. They sometimes give you the signs and you try everything to make them stay, and they're still like, no, we're going to this other agency, they can offer X, Y, and Z. So that's another really good thing to bear in mind as well, your team retention, but then also clients as well, because they chop and change all the time. Sorry.
No, it's right. Yeah,
really valid point,
right.
yeah.
I think the starting point is so relevant. I mean, I said earlier, it can be quite expensive to train a barista, for example. If you go to a company that does training, it costs you £1,000 to get trained up to be a barista, which Andrew's actually done. But Andrew's also worked at Wayland's Yard, who actually were very good at training. So it's good to find local companies where you can get properly trained. Andrew's also done some work with Francini's. So 2 really good local businesses in Worcester that have helped with the training. So you haven't always got to pay that £1,000 for that professional barista training.
Just getting to know people.
Getting to know people, finding the right local business like Wayland's Yard or Francini's that will actually give you that support and training. So that's quite important as well. So, and the one thing that we did not expect coming into the business was the weather. With us, the beast from the east, if it's very cold, very hot or very wet, that can really impact on the people that actually come out and use a coffee shop. So you don't often build that into your cash flow. So it's thinking, because you don't really know what the weather's going to do.
So don't account for weather problems.
No, so that was a real learning curve to us really. So yeah, it's little things like unexpected, it's cash flow again, isn't it? Making sure that you can cover the quiet periods.
Wow, thank you. And Ian and Andrew, how important is it to plan ahead?
I think it's vital to keep ahead of the competition, basically. That's what we do. There's stuff in London, been to Grind, Birmingham, to Quarter Horse. Is seeing what they're doing in other places and bringing that to Worcester. You've got to stay ahead of the competition. You've got to be on top of your cash flows, dealing with things like seasonal changes, the weather and stuff like that. So planning ahead is vital.
Just staying relevant on social media. You've just got to hit that
point.
so hard.
Yeah.
And just keep on top of your social medias all the time, just to keep staying relevant and keep in people's minds constantly.
I didn't really understand the importance of social media. I'm glad Andrew mentioned that, because I'm sort of a generation where social media wasn't the thing. I didn't even know what it was hardly. But we can post something on Instagram and half an hour later someone will come into a coffee shop to buy it. So you've got to know social media. You've got to be on top of it. It's got to be relevant. So it's it is such a powerful tool.
Thank you. Emma, anything you want to add about planning ahead?
Echoing that, cash flow, there's things you can't be prepared for. We've all been through that COVID situation, the lockdown, you can't prepare for that. But the smaller things like just general cash flow, making sure you've got substitute accounts for paying VAT, staying on top of things like that. But also as well, from a business perspective, I think the more prepared you are for every eventuality, the longer you will survive, whether that's the positive change or the negative change. Just never rest on your laurels. So you might have a really amazing 6 months and then something will happen. You'll drop 3 clients or you'll have to close or the beast from the east will arrive or anything, and you're just like, damn, I wish I'd thought about that. So be as prepared as you can be.
Wow, thank you. Phil, anything you'd like to add?
I think for us, planning ahead was knowing the market we were going into, and understanding all our planning initially took place is, where is our office going to be? What age group are we going to aim at? What are the competition doing? And then just evolving that plan, as we've said, making sure that we stay ahead, making sure we understand what people are doing. But you don't want to go into a market where you're not going to make any money, and therefore if you're not planning how that's going to work, then it will be tough and people don't survive.
Absolutely, knowledge is power, isn't it?
And complacency is a real weakness, and planning helps take away that complacency within a business.
Great, thank you. And Phil, can you tell us a little bit more about how you go about your taxes and accounts and that financial side of things?
Yeah, really easy. I outsource it, and I think what I've learned as well is if you can afford it, bring in expertise. So I outsource all of that. We do our basic bookkeeping. We use a software system to do that. But I've gone away and gone to experts right from day one when we operated the business, because I had no knowledge of that, and we needed to bring people in to do that. So we use a small accountancy business to do that for us.
Great, thank you. Emma, what about your accounts and finances?
Yeah, so I'm laughing because outsource anything you can't do. Don't use your brain power trying to figure it out. Get the specialist in for it. When we first started out, we didn't need an accountant, so we were just doing things ourselves. And then the bigger we got and we had to start recruiting, you get more clients, it gets a lot to handle. So we use QuickBooks for everyday bookkeeping. We have a lot of clients, so we estimate, quote, invoice, balance books, everything. But we do have an accountancy firm. We've recently moved actually, and the firm that we're using now are very, very knowledgeable with startup businesses or small to medium businesses. So we rely on them to tell us savings that we can make, what could be put through the business as a cost and what we have to pay ourselves, travel expenses, all of that. So it's the best advice to give is that when you are making enough revenue as a business, reinvest that back into an accountancy to help you with that, and they'll save you money in the long term as well because they know everything about anything, don't they? So yeah.
Good point. Because they just help you with things that you just don't know when you first go into these businesses.
It's
When you start
so
your own business, you just don't know these things. Like I said, with these types of payments that you're just not even aware of, and then they can just go, no, you need to be on that. This is where we can help you with things like this that you just didn't even consider when you first started it. And yeah, outsourcing, you need that help.
Yeah,
definitely.
you do. And the little things as well, they might say to you, actually, why are you paying for that? You can claim that back. And it's just really important. It's really important.
I think actually the legal, the property, the taxation advice, it's worth getting that professional advice at the start, because commercial leases are very different to residential. You're tied in, so you've got to be careful as to what you sign into. Your utility contracts, again, are very different to residential. We were plagued with electrical contractors ringing us up saying they could offer goodness knows what, so that's a completely different from your residential stuff. Think about creating a limited company, because that way you protect your own personal assets. You know, if something happens, like a beast from the east or a pandemic, that you just didn't see and your business does go under, hopefully it won't, but if you're a limited company, you protect your personal assets. So think about, it's definitely worth getting that professional advice at the start. You either do that through mentoring with another company, or you actually buy it in, because it will save you money. You don't want to be tied into a 20-year commercial lease, because you can't break that lease. But you want to be maybe a 5-year lease with a tenant-only break. So you've got that flexibility to be in charge of your own business. So commercial is very different to residential and stuff that you'll deal with in everyday life. So that professional technical advice at the front was really helpful.
Useful, thank you. Ian and Andrew, what do you enjoy most about running your own business?
Freedom. Just the freedom to do, you know, you go into work and you have a plan of what things you want to do in terms of what's going to benefit you the best, and not go in to a job that someone's telling you, this is what I expect of you today. You know, what do I expect of myself to do today? So you just get that freedom to do what you're passionate about, rather than having someone tell you how you should be working today. No, I'm going to work how I'd like to work today, actually, and I'm going to do it this way. So freedom is definitely one of the biggest draws to running your own business, 100%.
Great. And Emma, what do you enjoy about running your own business?
I will definitely mirror that. It's nice being your own boss. Also, part of my running my business that I really enjoy is just mentoring. So people who come in and are very much at the beginning of their career, or who join our team kind of halfway through, they've worked for other agencies. I really enjoy helping them and guiding them and supporting them be better than they currently are. So the advantage, I guess, is that I've worked for many different businesses over the years, on many different clients and different branding projects. So I've got a lot of knowledge to share. So for me, a real passion project is seeing somebody come into the business small and helping them flourish and grow and learn new skills, and inadvertently, obviously, then they move on, which goes back to the whole issue we had earlier on of retention of people. But there's nothing prouder than I know that my clients are happy because I've nourished that person to help them grow into a really, really good client handler, very confident, very knowledgeable. That's like a big perk for me. So yeah.
It's back to that passion thing again, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
So running through all three, isn't it? You've got to have a passion. If you have a passion, you'll love going to work. And that will make such a difference in how successful your business is. So keep things simple, but have that passion.
Yeah.
So important.
And like what you said, is feeling like you're a specialist at something.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I'm really good at, and this is what I'm going to make sure that I can take to the world and be really, really good at, and be impressive at. And just being specialist at something just feels amazing as well.
Yeah, agree with that. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. And Phil, what do you enjoy most?
We've heard about passion, haven't we? Do you know, I don't go to work. That's the first thing that I would say. I don't go to work every day. I work probably, 340 days a year, but it's because we're making a difference to people's lives, and there is I'm the decision maker. I make the right decisions, and sometimes I make the wrong decisions. But I'm not accountable to anyone. And the great thing about, we're a small business, so we can we're flexible, we can change, we can adapt. Whereas big corporate organisations I've worked with, you go through loads of different layers, and you have to go through loads of different politics, and you know, there's people that have got different agendas. All that's taken away. I wish I'd done it 30 years ago. You know, I'm 55 now, and I should have done it many years ago, because yes, you get that freedom, but you work so hard, but you're working so hard for a real reason.
Great, thank you. And Phil, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were starting your business again?
Well, I've said this quite a few times, and I'd have realised the compliance, you know, that went with setting up your own business, and I would have prepared for that better. We weren't prepared for not trading for 6 months. So you know, that little bit of research when it said it wouldn't take very long, well, actually, if I'd gone and done more research, I'd have realised it would have taken a little bit longer. I also think the great thing is it's great making mistakes. You know, you say, what would I do differently? I don't really know. I wouldn't have made the mistakes that I've made, but if I hadn't have made those mistakes, then the business would not be as
100%.
strong as it is now. You know, so I think don't be scared of getting things wrong is something that I would say. You know, because we've made lots of errors, but there's very little I would change, to be perfectly honest.
Great, thank you. Emma, so knowing what you know now, what would you do differently if you were starting your business again?
The same. Every day is a school day, is the saying, isn't it? So you make mistakes, get messy, roll your sleeves up, get stuck in. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But every mistake that you make is learning to make better decisions and more structured decisions moving forwards. I think I'm quite an optimistic person, so if you throw something at me, I'll dodge out of the way or I'll catch it, and I think that's just how I move through life. So I'm never one to look back and go, damn, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that, because I didn't, and I can't change that. So all I can do is take educated learning and move forward.
And Ian and Andrew, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I think keep things simple, because I think at the start we tried to be something to everybody. We did events, we were on the high street. That's hugely costly in terms of staffing. So keep things simple. Actually learned through Francini's, who runs a local coffee shop very close to here. He does events, he goes to like Burley Horse Trials. And he said, look, I just go with something like an almond croissant. People love it, they get used to it. He's just kept things simple. And he has massive queues for that one thing that he does really, really well. So sometimes we try to do too much at the start, cater for the breakfast, the lunch, the evening, all of this. No, keep things simple and learn from others. So yeah, you may not need a shop, you may just have a coffee cart or a coffee van or something and go to events. So keep things simple, be passionate about what you do, and I think, and learn from others really, which we've done. So yeah, I think we just tried to be too much to everybody at the start, whereas we should have perhaps kept things a little bit. Andrew now keeps things very tight and very simple. We bake all our own, we've got a very simple market, and it works.
Fab, thank you. And Emma, what key advice would you give to someone looking to start their own business?
Do your research. I think in any business when you're starting up, it's good to know who you're competing with in your area within, maybe that's a 10-mile catchment and further afield as well, and looking at what they do well, but looking at what they also don't do very well at all. So your SWOT analysis, I think, is really important. But also, I think mirroring everything that's being said, knowing your own values and knowing what you're good at, and sticking to that. There's no point in trying to flex and change and do what the Joneses are doing if that's not within your makeup to be that person or provide that service. So stick with what you know and what you're confident in, and then the rest will come naturally. So yeah, I think it's important to know what's going on around you, but stay in your lane and focus on the end goal, whatever that end goal is.
Fab. And for those that don't know what SWOT is, can you just give a short
Yeah,
overview?
so it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So strengths in your competitors, what their weaknesses are, opportunities of places where you could overtake them, and then any threats within that current sector and field as well that competitor offers. We do that for all of our clients as well, and it's very kind of like marketing 101, but really, really effective.
Great, thank you. And Phil, what's your key advice to someone looking to start their business?
Prepare. I think you've heard everyone. Be passionate about what you do is probably the key advice. If you're not passionate about what you want to achieve, you probably won't be successful in that. You know, is the one thing that I would say. And I was given a tip when we started the business, and they said, Phil, the best advice I can give you is look after your team like you want your team to look after your clients. And that has stuck with me right from day one, really.
Yeah, nice.
You know, and a lot of organisations may not do that, but we really try hard to do that.
Fab, thank you. And Ian and Andrew, what key advice would you give to someone starting their own business?
Just take something that you care about and you enjoy doing and just find a way to make money out of it. And if it's something you're passionate about, you'll make it. Simple as that.
Fab, thank you. And finally, any final words of advice for our young people today?
I would say just do it. You know, don't hold back. We've heard about all the things about what you need to do, but you know, there are loads of opportunities out there to really enhance what's already out there. You know, businesses come and businesses go, but it's the great businesses that survive, and you know what, just be brave and take risks. You know, don't be scared of taking a risk, because you know, again, you may get a few wrong, but it will pay off at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think as well, being passionate about something that, you know, that journey that you're just about to embark on, if you're not passionate and confident in your ability, then it will become really challenging when you hit hurdles or things go wrong, or you know, you lose a lot of clients in the first 24 hours. I hope that never happens, but if you're not passionate about something, the knocks hit harder, they hurt harder. So you just keep on going, end goal, be passionate, be confident, this is what I want, I'm going to go and achieve it, and then it will start to click into place. And also, nothing happens overnight. It can take months, sometimes years, for businesses to become a success. And again, if you haven't got that passion, that confidence and drive, then that becomes really challenging. So make sure you're doing something that you love. And then that journey doesn't feel as painful.
Yeah, echoing what you said, 100%. There'll be many people who will tell you, I don't think it's a good idea, you probably won't do very well at it, maybe you should just stick to a 9 to 5. Don't be afraid to just have a go. Just have a go. The worst that comes out is it doesn't work out, but you've got those experiences that you could take with you. And those employees, if you then do decide to go into employment afterwards, you have the skills of knowing what they want to see from you. So even if it doesn't work out for you,
That's true.
you've still got all those skills to take on. So I think definitely don't let people tell you that it's not to do it, because it's just worth taking that risk in all aspects.
Great, thank you very much. So we've come to the end of our questions for today. So a big thank you to our panel for joining us, and thank you to our young people for watching.
Thank you.